Ladies and gentlemen, there are behaviors you might not even realize are destroying your potential. Habits that seem harmless but are silently sabotaging your success, relationships, and happiness. If you've ever felt stuck, frustrated, or like you're not where you should be in life, this could be why. Today, we're breaking down 7 toxic behaviors that are holding you back, and more importantly, how to eliminate them before they ruin your future. Pay close attention, because recognizing these patterns could be the turning point you've been waiting for. Let's get started. Self-doubt and negative self-talk are among the most dangerous habits that can sabotage your life without you even realizing it. It's the voice in your head that whispers you're not good enough, you'll never succeed, or why even try? It's that inner critic that constantly reminds you of your past mistakes, makes you second-guess your decisions, and keeps you trapped in fear. Over time, this toxic habit becomes so ingrained that it feels normal. It becomes the way you see yourself in the world. And once that happens, it shapes your reality in ways you can't even imagine. The power of self-doubt is that it operates in the shadows. It doesn't always scream. Sometimes it's just a quiet hesitation before taking action, an excuse disguised as logic, or a fear that keeps you from stepping outside your comfort zone. You convince yourself that you're just being realistic, that you don't have enough experience, that others are more qualified. But the truth is, the only thing standing between you and your goals is the belief that you're not capable. The problem with negative self-talk is that it creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. When you constantly tell yourself that you're not smart enough, not talented enough, not worthy enough, your brain starts looking for evidence to support that belief. Every small failure, every setback, every rejection reinforces the idea that you're not good enough. And instead of pushing forward, you start holding yourself back. You hesitate to take opportunities. You avoid risks. You settle for less than you deserve. And before you know it, your potential is wasted, not because you weren't capable, but because you convinced yourself you weren't. But where does this self-doubt come from? It often starts early in life, shaped by the words and expectations of others. Maybe a teacher once told you that you weren't smart enough. Maybe you grew up in an environment where you were constantly criticized. Maybe past failures made you believe that you'll never get it right. These experiences plant seeds of doubt, and if left unchecked, they grow into deep-rooted insecurities that follow you into adulthood. The good news is, self-doubt is not an unbreakable curse. It's a learned behavior, which means it can be unlearned. The first step is recognizing when negative self-talk creeps in. Pay attention to the words you tell yourself. Would you speak to a friend the way you speak to yourself? If not, then why do you allow that kind of language in your own mind? Start replacing those thoughts with empowering beliefs. Instead of saying, I'm not good enough, tell yourself, I am constantly improving. Instead of, I always fail, remind yourself, every setback is a lesson that makes me stronger. Words have power, use them wisely. Another way to combat self-doubt is by taking action, even when you don't feel ready. Confidence isn't something you wait for, it's something you build through action. Every time you face a fear, every time you step outside your comfort zone, you weaken the grip of self-doubt. Start small. Set achievable goals. Celebrate your progress. The more you prove to yourself that you are capable, the quieter that inner critic becomes. Surrounding yourself with the right people is also crucial. If you're constantly around negativity, it will feed your self-doubt. Seek out those who uplift you, who believe in you even when you struggle to believe in yourself. Sometimes all it takes is one person who sees your potential to help you see it too. At the end of the day, self-doubt is just a mental barrier wall that only exists because you allow it to. The only way to break free is to challenge it, to prove it wrong with action, and to refuse to let it define you. You have the power to change your story. You have the ability to rewrite the narrative in your mind. And once you do, there will be no limits to what you can achieve. Procrastination and lack of discipline are silent killers of dreams. They don't destroy your life overnight, but rather they erode your potential day by day, moment by moment. Every time you put off a task, every time you choose comfort over progress, you reinforce a habit that keeps you stuck in the same place. And before you know it, years pass, and you're still talking about the things you want to do rather than actually doing them. Procrastination is deceptive because it doesn't always feel like a big deal in the moment. You tell yourself, I'll start tomorrow, or I work better under pressure, or I'm just waiting for the right time. But the right time never comes. And every delay adds to a cycle of regret, frustration, and self-doubt. You start feeling overwhelmed, not because the task is impossible, but because you've let it pile up for so long that it now feels like a mountain. At its core, procrastination is not about laziness, it's about fear. Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of not being perfect. You delay taking action because deep down you're afraid of what comes next. If you never start, you never have to face the possibility of failing. But here's the harsh truth: avoiding failure is the fastest way to guarantee it. Every successful person you admire has one thing in common: they took action despite the fear. They understood that progress is always better than perfection. Lack of discipline is the partner of procrastination. It's what makes you choose momentary pleasure over long-term success. It's what keeps you scrolling on your phone instead of working on your goals. It's what convinces you that skipping one workout, missing one study session, or delaying one decision won't make a difference. But it does. Success is built on small daily actions, not one-time efforts. Think of discipline like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it gets. But if you keep avoiding discomfort, if you keep making excuses, that muscle weakens and you become a slave to instant gratification. Discipline is the ability to make yourself do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. And that is the difference between those who achieve greatness and those who spend their lives wishing for it. So how do you break free from procrastination? How do you build discipline? First, stop waiting for motivation. Motivation is unreliable, it comes and goes. Discipline, on the other hand, is what keeps you moving even on the days you don't feel like it. Start small. Commit to working for just 5 minutes. More often than not, once you start, momentum takes over. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. Next, remove distractions. Your environment shapes your behavior. If your phone, TV, or social media is within reach, your brain will take the easy way out. Set up a space that encourages focus. Use timers, block distractions, and create routines that make discipline automatic. Most importantly, remind yourself why you started. Procrastination is easy when you lose sight of your purpose. Write down your goals. Visualize the life you want. Feel the weight of regret if you continue down the same path. Then ask yourself, will I let procrastination steal my future? Because every time you delay action, you are choosing comfort over your dreams. At the end of the day, success doesn't come from big moments of inspiration. It comes from small, consistent actions. You have a choice. You can either keep making excuses or you can decide that today is the day you take control. Because time will pass either way. The question is, will you be proud of how you used it? Surrounding yourself with negative people is one of the most toxic habits that can silently sabotage your life. The people around you influence your mindset, your decisions, and ultimately your future. Whether you realize it or not, their energy, beliefs, and attitudes slowly shape your own. If you constantly surround yourself with complainers, doubters, and people who make excuses, it won't be long before you start thinking the same way. Negativity is contagious. It seeps into your thoughts and convinces you that success is impossible, that life is unfair, that there's no point in trying. Toxic people will discourage your dreams, mock your ambitions, and make you feel foolish for wanting more. They'll tell you to be realistic, but what they really mean is, don't go too far, or you'll prove me wrong. Because deep down, negative people don't want to see you succeed. They want you to stay on their level so they don't have to face their own failures. But it doesn't stop there. When you're surrounded by toxic energy, you absorb it. You start doubting yourself. You start thinking small. You start believing that life is just about surviving rather than thriving. You don't realize it's happening because it's gradual, like a slow poison that weakens your drive and ambition over time. So ask yourself, who are you spending the most time with? Do they lift you up or drag you down? Do they inspire you to be better, or do they make you feel stuck? Do they celebrate your success, or do they find ways to minimize it? These are hard questions, but they are necessary, because the truth is you cannot grow in a toxic environment. No matter how strong your mindset is, if you constantly expose yourself to negativity, it will eventually wear you down. Breaking free from negative influences doesn't mean you have to cut people off completely, but it does mean setting boundaries. Protect your energy. Limit your time with those who drain you. Stop engaging in conversations that revolve around complaining, gossip, or blame. Instead, seek out people who inspire you. Surround yourself with those who push you to be better, who believe in you even when you doubt yourself, who challenge you to grow. And if you don't have those people in your life yet, start looking for them. Read books by great minds. Listen to motivational speakers. Engage with communities that uplift and encourage you. Because when you start filling your mind with positivity, your perspective changes. You start to believe in yourself again. You start taking action. You start moving toward the life you were meant to live. At the end of the day, your environment will either push you forward or pull you back. Choose wisely. Because the people you allow into your life will either build you up or break you down, and that choice is entirely yours. Fear of failure, playing small, fear of failure, is one of the most powerful forces that hold people back from achieving their full potential. It keeps you from taking risks, stepping out of your comfort zone, and going after what you truly want in life. Instead of embracing challenges, you hesitate. Instead of pushing forward, you retreat. And over time, this fear convinces you to settle for a smaller, safer version of the life you were meant to live. But here's the truth: failure is not the enemy, inaction is. Every successful person has failed, and not just once. They've failed over and over again. The difference is they didn't let failure define them. They understood that failure is not a dead end, it's just a lesson, a stepping stone to success. The only real failure in life is refusing to try. Playing small is a side effect of this fear. When you fear failure, you don't just avoid risk, you avoid opportunities. You convince yourself that your dreams are too big or unrealistic. You start aiming lower, setting smaller goals, choosing easier paths. You tell yourself you're being practical, but in reality, you're just letting fear control you. And the worst part, you don't just disappoint yourself, you rob the world of the gifts you were meant to share. Think about it. How many people never write the book they dream of? How many never start the business, never take the trip, never chase the dream just because they're afraid of failing? How many people spend their whole lives stuck in a cycle of what ifs and regrets? I don't let that be you. So how do you break free from this fear? First, change the way you see failure. Instead of seeing it as something to avoid, start seeing it as proof that you're trying, that you're learning, that you're growing. Every mistake you make is teaching you something valuable. The people who succeed aren't the ones who never fail, they're the ones who refuse to give up. Second, take action despite the fear. Fear will never fully disappear. You will never feel 100% ready. But action builds confidence. Start small if you have to. Take one step towards your goal, then another, then another. The more you move forward, the less power fear is over you. And finally, stop playing small. You were not put on this earth to live an average, fearful life. You have gifts, talents, and dreams for a reason. It's time to stop waiting for permission. It's time to stop doubting yourself. It's time to go all in on the life you truly want. Because at the end of your life, you won't regret the failures, you'll regret the chances you never took. Lack of gratitude, entitlement, one of the most toxic behaviors that can sabotage your life is a lack of gratitude combined with a sense of entitlement. These two attitudes go hand in hand, creating a mindset that keeps you feeling frustrated, dissatisfied, and constantly searching for more without appreciating what you already have. When you fail to acknowledge your blessings and instead believe that life owes you something, you set yourself up for a cycle of disappointment and resentment. Entitlement is the belief that you deserve success, happiness, or opportunities without putting in the necessary effort. It makes you focus on what you don't have rather than appreciating what you do. It leads to frustration when things don't go your way, and it blinds you to the reality that success is earned, not given. Instead of working harder, you complain. Instead of learning from failures, you blame others. And this mindset keeps you stuck, preventing any real growth. On the other hand, gratitude is a powerful force that transforms the way you see life. When you cultivate gratitude, you shift your focus from what's missing to what's present. You stop feeling like a victim and start realizing how much you've already been given. Instead of complaining about obstacles, you begin to see them as lessons. Instead of resenting challenges, you start using them as opportunities to grow. But here's the problem. Most people don't practice gratitude because they think it's just about saying thank you. It's not. True gratitude is a mindset, a way of seeing the world. It's waking up and recognizing that life itself is a gift. It's realizing that no matter how difficult your situation is, there's always something to be grateful for. Your health, your family, your opportunities, the simple fact that you are alive today, these are all blessings that many people don't have. Lack of gratitude also destroys your relationships. Nobody wants to be around someone who constantly complains, who never appreciates the efforts of others, who always expects more without recognizing what's already been given. Whether in friendships, family, or business, gratitude strengthens bonds while entitlement destroys them. People are drawn to those who are thankful, who recognize the value of others, who uplift rather than drain. So how do you shift from entitlement to gratitude? Start small. Every day, take a moment to reflect on 3 things you're grateful for. When faced with a challenge, instead of complaining, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Show appreciation to the people around you, thank them, acknowledge their efforts, and express genuine gratitude. Because when you shift your mindset to gratitude, everything changes. You become happier, more motivated, and more resilient. You stop waiting for life to give you something and start creating your own success. And in the end, the most successful and fulfilled people aren't the ones who feel entitled to everything, they're the ones who appreciate everything. Blaming others, avoiding responsibility, one of the most toxic habits that will sabotage your life is blaming others for your problems and refusing to take responsibility for your actions. This mindset keeps you trapped, powerless, and unable to grow. When you constantly point fingers at circumstances, society, or other people, you give away control over your own life. You convince yourself that your failures are not your fault, which may bring temporary comfort, but in the long run, it destroys your ability to improve. Blaming others is easy. It takes no effort to say, I didn't succeed because of my parents, or I'm not where I want to be because of my boss, my past, or bad luck. But every time you do this, you reinforce a victim mentality. You train your mind to believe that you have no power over your future. And when you believe you have no power, you stop trying to change your situation. You settle. You make excuses. You stay stuck. Avoiding responsibility is another dangerous habit that goes hand in hand with blaming others. It's refusing to admit when you're wrong. It's ignoring your own role in your struggles. It's finding reasons why you can't instead of looking for ways you can. But the truth is, nothing changes until you take full ownership of your life. Your results, good or bad, are your responsibility. Taking responsibility doesn't mean blaming yourself for everything that has ever happened to you. Some things are truly out of your control. But what is always within your control is how you respond. You may not control where you were born, what family you had, or the difficulties life has thrown your way, but you do control your choices. You do control your effort. You do control your mindset. And those things determine your future far more than your circumstances ever will. So how do you break free from this cycle? First, recognize when you're making excuses. Catch yourself when you start blaming others or complaining about your situation. Instead of saying, I can't because of someone else, ask yourself, what can I do to change this? The moment you shift from blaming to problem solving, you take back control. Second, own your mistakes. Nobody is perfect. We all make bad decisions, but the difference between winners and losers is that winners learn from their mistakes while losers deny them. When you admit your faults, you gain the power to fix them. Growth comes from self-awareness, not self-deception. Lastly, understand that life rewards those who take responsibility. The most successful people don't waste time blaming others. They focus on solutions. They take action. They control what they can and let go of what they can't. And that's exactly what you need to do if you want to break free from mediocrity. At the end of the day, your life is in your hands. If you don't like where you are, change it. No more excuses, no more blame, just action. Because the moment you take full responsibility is the moment you unlock your true potential. Living without purpose, drifting through life. One of the most dangerous habits that will sabotage your life is living without purpose, drifting through life without a clear direction, without goals, and without a deeper meaning driving your actions. It's waking up every day just to go through the motions, doing what's expected, but never truly feeling fulfilled. When you live this way, you don't just waste time, you waste your potential. Without purpose, life feels empty. You may have moments of happiness, distractions that keep you entertained, but deep down something feels missing. You chase short-term pleasures, but they never satisfy you. You jump from one thing to another, hoping that maybe the next job, the next relationship, or the next big achievement will finally make you feel complete. But it never does. Because purpose isn't something you stumble upon, it's something you create. Drifting through life happens when you let circumstances control you instead of taking control of your own destiny. You settle for what's easy instead of what's meaningful. You let fear, doubt, and other people's expectations decide your path. You tell yourself, one day I'll figure it out, but that day never comes unless you take action. And before you know it, years pass and you realize you've spent more time surviving than actually living. So how do you break free from this cycle? How do you find your purpose? First, start by asking yourself the hard questions. What truly matters to you? What excites you? What kind of impact do you want to leave on the world? Purpose isn't just about career or money, it's about living in alignment with what fulfills you. It's about waking up every day knowing you're working towards something greater than yourself. Second, take action, even if you don't have it all figured out. Many people never find their purpose because they keep waiting for clarity before they start. But clarity comes from movement, not from overthinking. Try new things. Explore different paths. Take risks. Even failures will teach you something valuable about yourself. Third, stop letting fear hold you back. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown. These are the things that keep people stuck in an unfulfilled life. But nothing great was ever achieved by playing it safe. If you want to live with purpose, you have to be willing to step outside your comfort zone. Lastly, surround yourself with people who inspire you. The company you keep will either push you toward purpose or pull you away from it. Choose to be around those who encourage your growth, who challenge you to be better, and who remind you that you are capable of more. Because at the end of your life, you won't regret the risks you took, you'll regret the time you wasted. You were not meant to drift, you were meant to thrive. So take control, define your purpose, and start living with intention today.